The idea of building a convention center had been in the community for some time. There was a small effort at one time to try to convince hotel motel owners to voluntarily commit to a certain portion based on how close they would be to a convention center, as to how some of their profits going to support it. Those type of cooperative efforts never really work, unfortunately.
Jim Harris then told me, don't go away. He said, we're not going to quit this project. We're going to have this facility.
Orlando Central Park agreed to donate 75 acres of land to Orange County for the convention center. Jim Brown envisioned South Eye Drive as an upscale tourist district named Plaza International.
We call it tourist commercial because nobody else had a term for it, so we made up our own. We begin to understand all the aspects of the visitor, that be a family vacation visitor or a convention visitor or a trade show visitor. They have all kind of needs that this community didn't have.
However, the county still needed to pay for the facility, and that meant convincing the public that a new tax could pick up the tab.
It wasn't until a gentleman in the state legislature named Hyatt Brown, who, by the way, deserves a great deal of credit for all of this, got through the legislature what's called a resort tax, the tourist development tax. Here you had to have a referendum to enact it for 2% of the hotel motel bill. And people don't like taxes. Even if they're not going to pay it, they don't like taxes. And so there was a contested election to try to establish that resort tax in Orange County.
We thought that conventions would be a natural for Orlando and fought very hard to have a referendum passed.
Part of the way of convincing people to do it was to say, we don't have an arena, we don't have a good auditorium, we don't have a good place to hold any community events, but we can build not just a convention center, we can build a multi-purpose facility in which you can come and listen to music and see a Broadway play. It may not be an auditorium, but it will be a large open space. And we had pledged to the people that all of this would be done solely out of the resort tax. We would never pledge property taxes or other revenues of the county toward this. Enough people accepted that idea that they passed the tax, but it was something like a 60-40 vote. It was not a huge vote in favor of even doing any of this.
There was one more wrinkle in the battle to build a convention center. The Orlando Central Park's location faced unexpected competition.
We had already gone through this offer one time, and ours was judged to be the preferred site. But in the meantime, everybody in the community had learned a little. We were all kind of growing, looking forward. And when it came up again, there were 3 or 4 other sites that were offered.
The county asked people to submit sites. One was on Kirkman Road, where Universal Studios is presently located. One was just south of SeaWorld, where Dolphin Cove is now located. One was downtown in the old fairgrounds. Jim Brown at Orlando Central Park and the Martin Marietta Company did an excellent job. They put on a TV program that showed people with a map and saying, here is the Beeline, and here's I-4, and here's Sand Lake Road, here's Disney, and here's our site. And that site got the most votes.
The resort tax passed in 1978, and Orlando Central Park's site was the people's choice for the new convention center.
You begin with nothing. Plaza International did not even have a road, let alone sewer and water and electricity, or a single hotel motel room within 2 miles. But it had potential.